Houston, we are fresh from the Forever Yours stage play, man, which took place yesterday, April the 13th, 2019. I have my man Corrigan with me. Corrigan, before we start the episode off, did you want to say anything?
Man, I just want to say I really appreciate you coming here. You know what I'm saying? Let us actually shoot this podcast, man. I really appreciate it.
Okay. Before we get going with the show, rest in peace to Nipsey Hussle, man. Like I said in episode 9, rest in peace to Nipsey Hussle, man. Your artistry is legendary, and you inspire the independent artists to do what they do. Let's get into the episode.
Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." Dear John, the iconic legend Quincy Jones said, "To know where you came from makes it easier for you to get where you're going." Sean Diddy Combs said, "Everyone has challenges and lessons to learn. We wouldn't be who we are without them." If 2018 and the last 6 years taught you something, it's that anything is attainable with the right focus and determination. Continue to build. Continue to promote your vision. Continue to inspire creativity and make more creatives. In closing, Nas said, "No idea is original. There's nothing new under the sun. It's never what you do, but how it's done. The first chapter of your vision's movements is done. However, you're still a visionary. Peace and blessings. John Ross."
Yo, it feel like 95, Sachi on my body, Biggie, Jigger, Puffy, all that ballin' is a hobby, and I'm wildin' in my body.
Houston, welcome back to the What's Next podcast, a production of Still Visionary Inc. My name is John Ross Dyke, and before we get started with the episode, I want to introduce our social media handles so we don't interrupt the conversation later on. You can follow me on Instagram and on Twitter at John Ross Dyke and Still_Visionary. My website, which is running now, is stillvisionary.com. Connect with me on LinkedIn, like my fan page, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. But like I said in the intro part of the episode, we are fresh off the stage, Houston, Texas. Yesterday, April the 13th, we did a stage play entitled Forever Yours. My character's name was Jason Winters, and my man next to me played the love interest of my old girlfriend in the stage play. Corrigan, man, what's going on with you, man? Go ahead and state your social media handles, man, right? So we can get started with the joint, man. Let's go.
I'm mainly focused on Instagram, which is Bink the artist. I will paint and draw your face off. I'm recently into acting. Facebook just goes by my government name, Corrigan Coleman.
Okay.
Rarely on Facebook, though.
Okay. Today is April the 14th, Houston, Texas, 2019, and we have 261 more days left in the 2019 year. So, Corrigan, man, you said that you just recently started acting, right?
Yes.
So, explain that. Talk to us about how you got into it and how you got involved, because I know that the depth of this conversation is going to take place in a few, and we're going to be talking about that painting that you have over there of Nipsey Hussle, man. So go ahead and just briefly talk to us about your past, your history, and everything, and bring us up until the artistic aspect of your journey.
Well, as far as acting, I can tell a story.
Okay.
I can definitely tell a story. Now, as far as acting, I actually got into acting. Well, I've been wanting to get into acting since I was in high school. I've always been a shy kid. I didn't say too much. Outside, I was always nervous to perform in front of an audience. You know, I used to hang with my friends all the time and joke around and play around. And a lot of people used to tell me all the time, like, "Man, Bink, you should get into acting. You should get into acting." But I was like, "Nah, man, I don't really want to get into acting because I always get around people. And when I have to say things that I don't really know, I start sweating and get nervous and I freeze and I tense up." Once I got into college, I started to break out that shell. I actually went to Texas Southern University in Third Ward. I began to get out that shell when we had to do skits. You know, when you're in school, you have to do presentations, and the teacher provides, say, hey, I need y'all to do a skit for this project. I actually done a skit, and I was one of the better ones out of the group. And everybody told me after class, like, man, you should get into acting. You should get into acting. I always wanted to do it, but I was like, nah, man. It's, you know what I'm saying? Acting is probably a little bit more complex than me just being the natural, goofy person on an everyday basis. I actually had a girlfriend who gave me this lady number and said, hey, you should contact her. She's actually into acting. I think you should really do it. Like, your personality and your look will actually get you into it. I say, nah, I'm not, no, I don't really want to do it. And then I say, you know what, forget it, I'm going to try it. Come to find out, she really didn't want me to do it because she understood the aspect of me having to kiss girls and be around women all the time, and I would spend a lot of my time doing rehearsing and auditions and with the acting circle versus actually being with her. So what I did was I pretty much neglected the fact of me actually wanting to get into acting just to focus on my time with her. Now, we was together for 2 years. Broke up with her. I said, you know what? I'm gonna finally get into acting. Tried to get into acting. In the midst of that, within like a 2-week span, I found another girlfriend. Another girlfriend, man. That relationship lasted for 5 years. In the midst of that relationship, I told her, I said, my dream is to be an actor. Like, me being I'm currently an accountant right now. I done went from Home Depot to now working as an accountant in MD Anderson. But I've always wanted to act. I just knew that I didn't want to sit at a desk job in an office. I didn't want to do that. So I finally decided to take a leap of faith and get into acting. She had a fit. She cried. She said, you're going to be around all these women. You're going to have to kiss women. You're going to have to do sex scenes. We don't have any kids together. We're not married. So if you get an opportunity to go to LA or Atlanta, you're just going to jump up and go. I said, you damn right I'm going to jump up and go. Like, it's nothing holding me back here. You know, why would I sit here and stay with you when my dream is in LA or Atlanta? So, I mean, I was honest with her, and, you know, she kind of took that to heart. So what I did was I put acting on hold until I got to a point where I knew I was getting ready to end that particular relationship, and I started diving into the acting. Now, she stood with me for probably like 5 or 6 months, me getting into acting. The first time I actually got into it, people was actually like, oh my gosh, you're a natural. And the response about it actually made me want to push forward towards the effort of actually being an actor. And I got into a little trouble. Initially, I was taking acting classes. I didn't do anything as far as plays or film or anything like that. I was taking acting classes.
So you started off getting formal training before you actually delved into the actual art of like standing up and reciting lines between people?
Yes, because I didn't actually want to do plays. I never want to do plays because I actually worked backstage at a play once, and I was like, nah, these people have too many lines to remember. I'm not finna be up there and then I'm gonna mess up a line and then people get mad at me. So I'm like, I never want to do acting, do plays. So I just want to do film, because when you got film, cut,
edit,
go,
take the best take, yeah.
Boom. I got into a little trouble, got into a little situation. It allowed me to sit at home and really focus on my craft and focus on the things that I actually wanted to do, which pushed me forward towards painting, and it made me focus a lot more on the acting craft. And as soon as I was in trouble, everything just started coming together. So it was almost like a blessing in disguise. And I had my first play, and from that, everything just took off. So ever since I had one play, I finished with that play, I get called back for another play. Back for another play.
What was the name of your first play?
The name of the first play was called Origins of a Jealous Woman, written by Renee Ravon.
Renee Ravon. I've heard that name. I think I've heard that name. Yeah. So take us through like how the 101 of an acting class. What was the first thing that you had to learn inside an acting class? Because I've never taken an acting class before. I, as well as you, was given a platform to join acting and to become an actor from my large brother. My large brother thought I was a natural at speaking. So he recommended that I be the host of our annual gala. And from there, my large brother sister said, hey, you're natural, you should do this. And then I did a stage play, which eventually led me to Jayla. And in between doing the stage play, I worked at the ensemble for a while doing tour of education. So I've never actually been inside of an acting class rather, but Black Blues was my acting coach for a while before he got busy with the slamming. So I've never had formal training. Take us through how that works. How does that work inside an acting class? What are they expecting of you? And what do you need to bring?
You just have to have a positive mindset when you go into acting classes. Understand that there are going to be people a lot better than you. You're going to learn from a lot of the actors actually in that particular room. Going into acting class, I was super nervous because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm around elite actors, and they're gonna look at me and say, man, this dude trash, he shouldn't be acting. That's the first thing that comes to your head when you try to go into acting class or an audition and you around people who are really talented. You're gonna say, man, they're gonna talk about me. So that alone in itself can discourage you. The teacher has to be very much so patient with you, which Renee was very patient with me as far as the acting aspect of everything. It was your first scene that you do, it's gonna be tough. It's not gonna be cakewalk, or it's not gonna be easy, and you're not gonna do as well as you think you're gonna do. And the thing with acting is, man, people think like when you watching movies and TV series like Martin or like a Denzel or something like that, they sit and they say, man, I can do that. Like that's easy. It don't seem like he doing nothing but just chilling. You're like, nah, because mentally he's someone else. He's not Denzel Washington. Martin is not Martin Lawrence when he's doing his comedy and stuff like that. Like they are a totally different person. So when you take acting class, you have to learn how to tap into a totally different person. You got to learn how to take your moments before. You have to learn how to dissect the script. You got to know the subject. You got to know what you're fighting for. You got to know your substitution. Scene objectives is very, very, very important. So like if you hand me a script and I don't know what I'm fighting for in this particular scene, then it's not going to be believable. And that's where your acting coach comes into place, because they teach you those things in acting classes. When you get a director, your director pretty much just gonna direct you and say, you should say it like this, or maybe it's like this. But when you have your acting coach, they're gonna help you dissect every word. They're gonna give you your beats and actions, know when to go up and go down, teach you how to actually speak, let you know that you're not speaking clearly enough, that you need to open your mouth. Like those type of things are very critical in acting. Now, when you have a director who just kind of let you just go and not really giving you direction, it makes it harder for a play or a film or a TV series to actually come alive. So I think acting classes is very, very imperative as far as when you're trying to get into acting. Regardless if you are a natural or anything like that, it's very challenging to get gigs in LA or Atlanta
if you haven't had that formal training.
If you don't have that training, because when you pull out your resume, they're gonna ask you, so what type of training have you had? You're not just you can't just come in here and just say I'm a natural. Because there's a lot of people think they're natural.
So hey fam, you know what? Because I don't have any manners, man. What I like to do on the podcast is for every guest that comes on, I like to present them with this black SVIT. It's a signa of the company, but I had a kid that asked me for one of these shirts. He wanted to buy one of these shirts for me, and I said these shirts are exclusively for the creatives that come onto the podcast. So from me to you, from my company to you, man, I appreciate you being a guest on the podcast. And
blessings, man. Blessings.
When I know that for everybody, see, those are exclusive. Can't nobody else wear them shirts any other time. So I know that if you have that shirt on, you on the podcast. So I mean, so far into the episode, man, I hadn't gotten out. I looked down, I seen the shirt there. I want to present that to you. Now, before we continue on to the conversation, what song's on your mind?
Man, I've been listening to that Double Up and that Nipsey Hussle, man. That's a song I've been just putting on repeat, man.
Double Up.
Yeah, man. Ever since his untimely demise, man, it's just been something that's been heavily on my mind, because
Hold on, because we're gonna go. We will talk about that for a few minutes. And the song on my mind is "Determination" from the same album featuring Kendrick Lamar. So go ahead.
Yeah, man. I just love the vibe, the cruising of that particular song, man. So you can just ride down the street in the nighttime, the sun setting, just let your windows down, open the sunroof, and just kind of just vibe out to the song, man. And it's just, to me, like, everybody take different things from songs, regardless if the artist has a particular message for a song. Us as individuals, we all have different perspectives of different things. And from my perspective of that song, it's just all about just grinding, getting the money, man. And I just love everything about that song, man. Just everything.
So how do you think that Nipsey's untimely? I'm not gonna say untimely because I believe in Jesus Christ.
Okay.
I'm not gonna say untimely. How do you think that his death has affected you as an artist?
Man, you know what? I won't even just say just as an artist. I would say as a person. It actually made me a little bit more. I think it's humbling me a lot more. It's making me a lot more aware of people's feelings, to be more supportive of people's endeavors that they're actually putting out there in the world. It's just making me be a cooler person, man, because man, Nipsey was, I mean, for him to open up a store in his hood, knowing he didn't have to do something like that and give people jobs like that, man, it just shows like how much he's invested into his community, into his black people, man. Like that stuff right there was just amazing to me, man. And I think it's just making me look at things at a different light, man. Like
I think that's what his his legacy and his death his death leading up into his legacy has done for a lot of people, man. A lot of people are being more perceptive to what's going on. You know what I mean? I know for me, sometimes I'm driving around and I'm listening and dissecting his lyrics, and I hear the storytelling, but I also hear the growth. Like I tried to play Slauson Boy today before I got here, and I was like, no, hold on, wait a minute. I had to pause, and I had to go and get reaffirmed from another album to go back and listen to it, because the growth that he made from that album to Crenshaw, to Marathon, to Victory Lap,
Slauson Boy 2 now.
Yeah,
that was hard.
Well, I'm gonna work my way to that, but as an artist, and in my own personal endeavors, I see that he had a quote: "As long as you stay focused," and I don't know the exact quote, but you see it on Instagram now. As long as you stay focused, don't stop, don't quit, keep going. It'll happen for you, man. And I think that I believe that is factual. I mean, I've seen a lot of things happen for myself. Just not quitting.
Man, the thing about Nipsey, man, he just seemed like a cool dude.
Yeah,
man. And it kind of makes you just want to just be that cool dude, man, when you just around people and just have like a good vibe. It really made me want to have a good vibe about myself around people, to have people want to be around me and just say, man, I love being around Corgan, man. He just cool. He just chill, man. Man, I think his death, I think it's really bringing a lot of people together, man. It's making people see things from a different light, man. It's sad, but it was also a blessing. And you know what? And I honestly feel like, man, if he was alive right now and he knew that something like that would happen and bring people together and actually make people have a different mindset about life, then I think he'll still sacrifice his life for that, dog.
Oh, okay.
I really believe that, man. Okay. Just because of the type of person he is, man. From what I've seen. I don't know him personally, but by him passing, it feels like I know him personally,
Yeah. So we were in rehearsals one day, right?
Yeah.
And
a lot of days.
Well, on this particular day, you said to the cast that people grew up calling you. You grew up and people were calling you Bink.
Yeah.
Right. So, I think I might have been like, "What's your Instagram?" Because now it's crazy that now in 2019, and it's been like this for a while. People are no longer asking for phone numbers.
Yeah.
People are asking for your Instagram handle.
IG,
right?
Baby.
Yeah. They follow you on Instagram, and this is how people keep up with you, in contact with you, right? Yeah. So I see Bink the artist on there, right? We've talked about the acting standpoint. What about that name artist makes you an artist?
Man, I just think that my mindset, as far as like me being an actor, me painting and drawing, the things that I come up with in my head, the things that I see when I see colors, like so when I'm doing certain things, or if I'm driving down the road, man, all I see is art. All I see is art. I'm looking at you right now, and I'm looking at that red little muffin thing on the microphone, and all I'm thinking about art right now. Man.
Yeah.
And I think that's the epitome of artist to me.
So you mentioned earlier repetition, that you didn't want to get into acting because, or where you were behind stage at a stage play, and you were watching people and you thought that you wouldn't be able to do it because you were going to forget a line. How much of that repetition goes into what you do as the artist? Because I've looked at your Instagram and you got some fire. I'm talking about. Let me just Houston, Texas. Let me just be clear about what I'm talking about right here. If I were to take a picture on my phone, right, the iPhone 10 or whatever, right, and send that picture to the computer, right, and then put it into the little program that I have that's able to trace an image and detach the color from the image so that you can print it on a shirt, it would look exactly like how you draw these pictures. How much repetition goes into being able to do that, and is that something that you've always been able to do?
Man, first of all, I really appreciate that, man.
No, I'm not. I mean, look, this man's Instagram, Houston, Texas, is Bink. Is it Bink _ the artist?
Nah, it's just Bink the artist.
Bink the artist on Instagram. Yeah. Go and look at this man's Steph Curry picture. Go and look at his LeBron picture. When I got to the crib, he showed me where his pictures are in his closet, man. These pictures look like spitting images, like somebody took a photograph and the man traced a photograph and just dropped it on the canvas. Talk about that, man, because not only does he have those pictures, but he also has a Nipsey picture on this island right here that looks exactly like the damn photo, man.
Yeah, man. Like, man, it's one of them things. It's just a gift, man. It's almost like riding a bicycle, man. With me, with art, I started off as in elementary. The first thing I ever drew was a pair of Jordan 13 J's, man. Mm-hmm. Like the blue, black, and gray ones when they first dropped. And I think they was the low top ones. And when I drew, that's the only thing I could draw at that particular time. Then I graduated to drawing people's faces, but I couldn't draw eyes. I couldn't draw their mouth or nothing. So I'll draw everybody's face with just a nose. Mm-hmm. And that's it. The repetition as far as like painting and drawing and stuff like that, I actually just got into painting, but it's one of those situations where you just gotta constantly do it, like every single day. Just like you work on your podcast every single day, the more and more you do it, the more you become more creative with it. Mm-hmm. You're gonna get better with it, mm-hmm. and things like that. As far as the art stuff, it's the same aspect of it, and it's just. And you just gotta catch that vibe, man. It's just a vibe. That's it. That's all it is, man.
Well, you mentioned it being natural, and you mentioned it being natural to riding a bike. You still have to learn to ride a bike. Like you can't. I don't know many kids, and maybe you were like this, but I know I wasn't one of them kids that got on a bike that didn't have the tricycle part on it, and I start pedaling without falling over.
I will honestly say this, man, and I know you mentioned the bike, man. When I learned how to ride a bike, I ain't had no training wheels. I just got on the joint and started riding.
Okay.
That I mean, I was just that type of person where I was just talented and gifted in many different things. Yeah. You know, obviously, I ain't grow too much, and you know, I could have been on that court hooping. You know, I would have been in college and something like that on the league if I would have grew a little bit bigger. But because I'm naturally talented and that type of stuff. But as far as like, man, that drawing, what really got me into drawing, I really wasn't that good probably like a year ago. What really got me into drawing, man, was when I got in trouble. I got in trouble, man. It set me down, allowed me to focus. I ain't had no choice. I had to sit at home, and I had to draw, and I had to paint to clear my mind, because I knew that was the type of thing that'll take me away from this universe. It was just drawing. And another thing that actually caught me into drawing and painting is I would go out and to different places like Kirkland's and things like that, and I would see artwork, and I would say, man, I can draw that. You know, I would go to apartment complexes, and when I go look for apartments and they'll have like a lot of artwork on the walls and stuff like that, I would get inspired by stuff like that. You know, I would get inspired by driving on 400 in West Belford, and I would see I saw this this black lady, man. She had to be African or something, and her son, and they just looked like they was homeless, asking people for money. And to me, like, his skin was so dark. He was young. His skin was so dark. He had his hair all just nappy hair, and she had like on like a quilt or something, man. It was just it was so sad, but it was so beautiful, man. And that type of stuff really inspired me to come home and just say, I'm gonna paint that.
So did you need to? Could you see it in your head, and when you painted it, could you see it in your head and then put it on a canvas, or did you need to have the picture there to be able to like put this eyebrow here, or put that eyebrow there?
Don't let people gas you up. Artists, all artists out there, I'm gonna be the one who said, don't let people gas you up thinking that you can just go out there and just paint something without looking at it. You gotta look at something, man, because I can't say, oh, I want to draw John and then just be at home and just draw John with no picture. I need to see where your eye at, where your nose at, and stuff like that. Now I can look at you and go like this here, but a lot of people use grids and stuff like that. Some people trace. To each his own. It is what it is. Me personally, I'm not a tracer. You know, I like to look at stuff and draw it. But I get inspired by the things that I see, like black people. I get inspired by them, like homeless people. Like that type of stuff really inspires me because it's so much pain into watching those people. And that type of stuff makes me want to go home and just say, let me just sacrifice this sleep. Because I'm tired, but when you tired and you don't feel like painting, that's when your best artistry come out. And when you get that good vibe, you might want to sip on some. You get you some good music playing. Like, things like that really pull out your artistry. And people ask me all the time, man, how you paint so well? How you draw so well? I'm just like, man, look, I tell everybody, you just got to catch a vibe, man. Cause the same thing that I can do, you can do. Anybody can do what I can do. I tell them all the time, bro, you can do what I can do. You just got to do it. If you don't want to do it, then it's not going to come out like that. It might not come out the way you want it the first time, the second time, the third time.
But you got to keep practicing.
But you got to keep on practicing. That repetition word, man, you got to keep doing it. And that's the only way that just, if I act one time, I'm not finna be good just because I act the first time, because then I'm not going to know the mistakes I made.
Yeah.
You know, I got to see what's happening out here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
So in the next 261 days, what do you hope to accomplish in the next 261 days?
Man, next 261 days.
And that's a different question from the question I'm going to ask you in the end. So be selective of your answer, because I don't want you to have to repeat yourself.
Okay. My thing is, right now I'm currently working on an art show. I'm trying to do an art show. I want to do multiple paintings. I want to have people come and do like a painting with a twist, but instead of the liquor, you can have liquor too. But I want to have like hookahs so they can kind of smoke, you know, drink, and just paint the things that they see on my page that they always ask me about. I'm gonna say, you know, I want you to do it yourself within the next 61 days. That's what I want to do. I'm working on actually getting my life completely back within a couple of weeks. Then I can move forward with a lot of endeavors that I got in mind.
Okay. So this Nipsey picture that you have right here, man.
Yeah.
How long is that gonna finish? How long is it gonna take you to finish that?
I probably finish that. If I don't do nothing today, I probably finish that tonight.
So the colors. So do you mix colors to get a certain color, or?
Absolutely.
You do.
I have a color chart, and if I see a color on a Nipsey picture, I will put my color chart next to it, and I say, okay, well, these are the colors that I need to mix in order to get that particular color. Okay.
Yeah. Any upcoming films?
Not at this particular moment. Right now, I do have a play. We were actually redoing Origins of a Jealous Woman. My acting coach is actually writing another play. I'm not certain the name of it at this particular moment, though.
So your acting coach is also a writer?
Yes, she's a writer as well.
Okay.
Cole, Renee Ravon. What's up, baby?
All right. So here on the podcast, man, the What's Next podcast is all about bringing creatives on.
Yeah.
And when we bring creatives on, these creatives I've been watching, right? It may have been a month, it may have been a year, but I've been watching them to see how their journey is, and I want them to come on and talk about their journey, where they got started, where they hope to go. And the last question I always ask every featured on the podcast is, what's next for Bink the artist?
Oh man, it's so much that I have in mind that I want to do, man. Like as far as the acting, I think I'm actually interested in doing auditioning for this new play called For Color Boys, which is filled with monologues where I dance. Now I ain't no dancer. I'm typically like the cool dude who likes like to chill and stuff like that. Yeah. But I actually want to challenge myself a little bit more as far as the acting, because I always get typecast in these college young boy plays, and I'm not trying to do that. Yeah. What I'm trying to do right now is really have range as far as acting. One of my goals is actually to get an acting coach. I mean, not an acting coach, I'm sorry, is an agent. Mm-hmm. To get an agent and who can just kind of do all the auditioning stuff for me to say, hey, I need you to come audition here. I think this is perfect for you, so I won't have to be out searching for that type of stuff, you know?
Yeah. Houston, Texas, man. It's our time. Peace and blessings.
Yo, it feel like 95, Sachi on my body, Biggie, Jigger, Puffy, all that ballin' is a hobby. And I'm wildin' in my wallies, and them valleys, no Pilates. More way get you more wet, nah that's the Spumante. My crystal ball, I see crystal, I crystal y'all with that. I saw the sign like Ace of Spades, that Ace of Spades get cracked me like cheers to the money guys, the Willie niggas who buy them bottles, and then they spill these liquors. Yo, salute my dude, I see you, dawg. 5 bottles, 1 dick, why I need 2 bras? I know I'm out of line, but love is shower time. You know it rose rain when your cloud is 9. Get off that high ass hussy, this a private party. Been on my dick too long, your breath on private party. You gon' be nice or naughty, these walls on priceless Audi. This the upper crust, fuck is up. Over and done, overdose. Yes, we did it again. Sippin' with no remorse. We gon' do it again, and we gon' do it again.
When we do it